Yay, ta-da. So, hopefully you guys have been enjoying it. So, let's get started, guys, right here at the bottom right side of the map. It is going to be the Protoss player, Aki. Aki, come here, man. Aki, come here. Going to be starting at the bottom right side, down 0-1 to his opponent over here at the top left. It is going to be Reason. So we're going to see if Reason gives him a reason to reckon with, and we'll see if Aki will Immortal Sentry all in him. That's basically like my thought process coming into almost like every single game, like in a PvZ. I'm just like, I wonder if he's going to Immortal Sentry all in. Like, we know most of the time, it's going to first of all open up with a Forge Fast Expand, so nothing really too crazy or too out of the ordinary. But then we wait to see it, just like, is he going to Immortal Sentry all in? Is he going to utilize Stargate? Is he going to do something else, But for the time being, looks like it's just going to be a very standard opener. Reason sending his first drone down there. Of course, first couple lings are going to pop out as well, so going to be pretty darn tough for Aki to really reasonably block this off. Of course, he's heading on south, but you could just honestly pull up right over here or down here, put a couple pylons, and start photoning from the high ground. So just kind of suggestions out there, Of course, you got the cheesehead logic, giving you some of the cheesehead logic. Oh, yeah, check that out. Now, a couple things are coming on up in here. Will they make it in time before this cannon finishes up? Yes, they kind of will. The only reason basically he cancels it, saves about 75 minerals off the pylon. Didn't want him to get in again. I mean, it's kind of worth it because the lings would have been a little bit of a nuisance within the main that would have had to deal with. They kind of come on in here, kind of jab and stab. And of course, all that does is just delay mining time and would have been eventually more worth it than 25 minerals lost. So, as it is right now, continuing in our game number 2 at the moment, Probe is still around, sticking around, of course, being a continual threat. Reason really, all these games trying to do as best of a job as you can to try to find out about these in time, in case there's any probes, proxy pylons across the map, because that could completely change the tide of battle. You lose a hatch, you're gonna get set far behind. I mean, that's just kind of general understanding and logic. So you don't want to do that, especially to something as simple as a cannon rush or proxy cannons. Let me check mic check 1 sec. Make sure everything is working up again. Yes, this is actually cool. Alright, so everything is working. Sweet. We are good. Alright, so Stargate, oh yay, we get to actually see something a little bit new throughout the whole entire tournament. I actually haven't seen any Stargate play in PvZ, so we're going to be opening up with Stargate. I'm waiting for the additional gas to get taken, but again, this is kind of one of those things that's really fun to watch from a Protoss perspective, and to see how Zerg does definitely react, because it's very dangerous if not found out about soon. Not the fact that it could basically be like the whole entire game killer, but on the other end, where it just has capability to do a lot of damage and set the Protoss very far behind, depending on how much damage is done. We see, I mean, there's times when those spore crawlers are placed, 3 phoenixes flying in there, and it's literally, like I mentioned like earlier, like it turns into that Carbach cartoon where just phoenixes go pew 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 and everything just goes down. So that can be the case here, and as we already see, the first Phoenix is coming out. Now, when does actually Reason decide to send in the Overlords? Both of them are in position and ready to scout out. Well, here they come. Here comes the one from the south side. It hasn't, it's not going to really find the Stargate coming from this angle just yet, unless he somehow takes a little bit of a better path, of course. And then, of course, there is the Overlord over here. They could fly in now if he wants to, but it looks like he's going to delay for now. So, of course, Reason flying on in there, trying to get that Overlord, save it as best as he possibly can to make sure this sentry doesn't tickle him completely to death. And with the Stalker out, I think the support Overlord will die. Now the second scout is coming on in here. Now look at the angle it's coming on in here. Will it get in time to be able to see the Stargate? I am not sure. It's getting closer. Dun 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 dun. Oh my god, he's going a little bit too far to the right. No! Reason is not going to be able to find out about it, and also his supply block. That's like That's a double negative right there, man. That's a double negative. You can't be right with that at all. So that's a double negative. You can't be right with that. Losing 2 overlords, getting supply blocked, and still not finding out about the Stargate. That's very rough. Now on the backside over here, Macro Hatch getting taken by Reason, getting his first roaches and still droning up a little bit, getting his speed for his lings. And at this point, I think Reason is sort of trying to attempt to expect maybe some kind of Immortal Sentry all in. But what he's going to get a nice little surprise right now going over here into the main is a bunch of Phoenixes, and there we go. The first Spore Crawlers are getting started, but you know there's going to be damage done already regardless. And I mean, is he continuing production? It looks like he got one more Phoenix out, so 5 Phoenixes are basically going to be trying to rue the day that the Zerg ever try to cross this path. And as we see now, Overlord's getting picked off. He should probably focus a little bit instead of on the Overlords, more on the economy. And as we see, he's taking out a couple drones right there. Now the 5th Phoenix comes. Now he's got to control a little bit better than that. Make sure he doesn't lose so much Phoenix HP and health, and unfortunately a lot of these Overlords are just getting picked off, man. That is absolutely rough. And now the Overseer, Spore Caller finishing right over the top of one of these. A lot of HP damage has been done to these before anything serious could happen. Now, you could just lift this Queen up and get it out of the way, and every time a Queen does go down, what it does is it cuts production, kills the larva injects. So anytime you can take out a Queen, that's a big advantage for the player. Good job with the Overlords. I mean, it's kind of cool. Everybody's just kind of sitting over the Overlords as well. The Overlords are just trying to have behind us for caller. Like now, because of the Carbot, like the little Carbot animations, like I literally cannot like picture Phoenixes anymore as like normal Phoenixes. I imagine every time a Phoenix comes out onto the field, they're like the little Carbot animation, and you hear just and just beep 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 beep, just like taking everything out, man. It's a little childish, juvenile, but it's a little bit of a fun thought for me to keep myself interested. So, as the game is going on, total of it looks to be 4 gates. Twilight Council is up as well, getting Blink, getting his first Colossus out with range as well, not producing any more from the Stargate. So it looks like Haki is going to be trying to force a little bit more of a macro game, getting that 1 Ling out of the way, going to be able to take his third a little bit more peaceful now. Now, overall, let's take a look and see what kind of damage has actually been done throughout this game. Only 2 drones actually picked off, but overall quite a few units. The 2 Queens, of course, that we saw earlier. A slight cut in production, not too much, because again, usually once you see Phoenixes, Zergs typically initiate at least another couple Queens from their hatcheries to make sure that they're going to be able to also continue defending from all the anti-air. But, you know, overall, Reason really didn't lose too much to speak of. I mean, he's pretty good and set at this point, sitting at 72 drones off 3 base. He should probably find out and double check. There we go. He sees that the 3rd Nexus is getting taken with the cannons. He probably should take his own 4th at this point, or at least go for a big timing push with Infestors, Roaches, and Lings. Personal preference myself, I would say to go take a 4th, because again, it's a lot easier for a Zerg player to play macro, get the late game units out, and be able to dominate that way versus trying to, you know, kind of risk it for the biscuit by going over at the 3rd and trying to attack with just kind of a little bit of an Infestor Roach Ling composition. And the problem again with that is with the Lings, they're going to be roasted very quick by the Colossus. With a few Stalkers and Force Fields, the Roaches are going to be fairly ineffective, and then of course without high Infestor numbers, it's just going to be very hard just to deal with in general. Cool. So, here comes the initial attack, and of course you could also use the Phoenixes to lift up the Infestors. There we go. Now, where are the Phoenixes? He could actually really, it would actually really help to utilize them. Here comes the first Fungal, and I still don't understand why he's not doing it. Utilize them. 1 Infestor does go down, though. A lot of the shields on the Protoss units are down, but overall, not too bad. Not too bad of a trade. And yeah, I mean, at this point, if he just actually went for the heavy energy Infestors, there would not be enough Fungals for them to handle it. I'm just saying, you know, I'm a guy that, you know, I like coaching. I like improvement. I like kind of situational discussion and analysis. And you know, Phoenixes are sometimes really undermined. Like this was a situation not only where Aki could have just actually completely decimated the army, he could have taken out all the Infestors, and now he's got to be a little bit careful with the control because the Infestors are starting to regather the energy. Now they saw the Phoenixes flying around. He's going to make himself aware over that. But also, you got to also realize like he does have an opportunity in front of him where he might be able to go for an attack over here at the 4th hatch. which will even out the game completely. If Protoss can stick even a Zerg on bases, usually it's a good sign for Protoss throughout the rest of the game. He does have to be a little bit careful. There are a few Corruptors out, 8 to be exact. Let's go back to the production tab and look at 3 attacks getting started. Here we go. Here comes the attack. Where are thy phoenixes? Where are thy phoenixes? Thy phoenixes are not getting involved in the battle, and that's a little bit of a problem because, again, what they would help out as well with would be aggroing the Corruptor damage. But, you know, if anybody learned anything from Carbot, phoenixes hate Corruptors. For the most part. And unfortunately the rest of these infestors are without energy. Is there a burrow upgrade? Yes there is, but he's not actually burrowing them to get out of there. Is there blink? Yes there is. Forward blink takes out the rest of the infestors, and that definitely does hurt because, I mean, most of the army for a reason right now is just going to be lings and corruptors. Doesn't really have a lot of kind of, you know, grit. Doesn't have the brood lords, doesn't have the infestor numbers. It's not a lot of really grit to it. But he does have to control and be very careful because a lot of speedlings can, of course, surround and counter this, but letting the lings soak up a lot of the damage. Corruptors coming on forward, but they're like, oh, whoa, 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 there are no Colossus there. We're going to get the hell on out of there. We're not going to be able to help, really. We're going to need some roaches. We're going to need some infestors and broodlords to be able to tackle that army. So, still kind of funny to think about. Akib might have kind of forgot about these phoenixes because they are still kind of hanging out here, just really not doing too much when they could really help out in composition overall. And of course, lift the infestors. Usually, one of my main uses that I would tell a person to use a Phoenix for when it coming against a Zerg, of course. And here we go. Lots and lots of charge lots, and I like it, but I don't like it because, again, Zealots are great units, but once they're fungled, they're easily chain fungled over and over again, so you got to be very careful how you control them. And here we go. This is what exactly we're talking about. One fungal already in place. Of course, high corruptor numbers will be able to take out the Colossus pretty damn quick, but not a lot of infestors still out on the map for a reason, so that's kind of a little bit of a problem, making the charge lots a little bit more effective than they actually are. Now, something also to note, the fact that there is no armor upgrade either for the Protoss units. They are just purely attack, but with 3 attack, they are very, very strong to go up against. And now, again, only 1-2 for the Zerg player. So at this point, you know, what Reason is trying to do is just continually hold this off and push this back as best as he possibly can. It's going to be actually probably pretty damn tough to hold off this this fourth hatch, because again, there's just so much Protoss here. Even though he's backing up, I don't know. He could have got a chance if he got another big Zealot warp and could have continually pressured on here, but looks like for the time being, the Zerg player Reason is gonna live to fight another day and probably actually fight to get out his broodlords. Greater Spire just getting about 3/4 of the way down, a little bit over half actually to be exact. Getting 3 additional infestors involved within the army, getting adrenal glands for the speedlings. And you know, at this point, Aki's just like, hey, you know what? Not gonna really try to force anything too much on me. I'll just try to play macro right now. I'll grab my 4th Nexus, get my defenses up, and we'll continue the game through there. There we go. Now, of course, the Templar and the Archons are getting involved, which are always a crucial and a very big help to the Protoss. But again, where are the Phoenixes? Where are those bad boys? Are they with the army? There we go. Finally, the Phoenixes are with the army. Not great. Going to actually be a really great time to use them because, again, they're going to soak up a lot of the Corruptor fire right away, so it's going to allow for the Colossus to be a little bit more effective on the ground. Meanwhile, over here at the 4th location, just kind of rotating over here to be sure to defend all and everything that he possibly can. Ling run by being very unsuccessful, not even able to take out that pylon for the time being. And that's kind of a thing where the Protoss player is just gonna be bouncing back and forth here for the next few minutes, just making sure that his 4th doesn't get compromised completely. And at some point, you know, when the Zerg army just gets too big and too strong, it will actually just go for the attack, say whatever, I don't care, I'll do what I want. I'm just going to go for a base trade situation, and usually that can tend to work out really well for the Protoss. Now, here come the Phoenixes at the front. A good little chunk and pack of them are getting fungled right now, but again, like I said, taking up a lot of the firing damage from the Corruptors at the moment. The next Phoenixes are coming forward, and look at the ground army. There's not a lot under here. There's just some roaches and some infestors, so most of the army is getting basically picked off. All the broodlords are getting focus fired by the Blinkstalkers, as we see. He's actually down and trying to form some additional ones as well, but this is kind of turning out really well for Reason. Oh! Could actually he be pushed back? Yes, he will. The Corruptor is doing a wonderful job taking out the Colossus. Roaches just staying in the fight for as long as they possibly can and being so effective as well. As we see, the Infestors also helping out with the Fungals, keeping a lot of those units still. And I think that's actually going to be something we're going to see a lot more often right now with Zergs. The fact that there's no more upgrades to the Infested Terrans, I'd rather save up their energy and just use it for Fungal, because those Infested Terrans are... especially towards the late game, can be pretty worthless and will evaporate very quick to attacking units of the Zerg. Of the Protoss. So we'll see exactly what he decides to do with that. But right now, just overall, Reason sitting in a good position. He's got his 5th hatch taken over here. He's got Broodlords. He does need additional Corruptor numbers, I would say, with some Infestors, but overall sitting not too bad. Not too shabby, getting his 2 air attack, which of course is going to help out, take out all the ground units very fast. He's getting his 3 Carapace up, he's getting his 2 melee. The guy's basically covering all of his bases at the moment, and I really like how he's playing at the moment. So Reason, again, one of these Zergs that just played really out of his mind yesterday, got into the upper bracket, played so well, and it's kind of funny that we talk about it. He's falling right now into the losers right now, but again, look who's there. There's Killer. There's so many good players up there at the top side of the bracket, and again, there's not really much of it left, but you guys know what I mean. You guys know exactly what I mean. So, as the game goes on, Reason continues his macro ahead of the game. I'm waiting to see when more War Prism usage does come, but for the time being, at least we're going to see a little bit of Charge Lot harass down here over at the 5th location. Of course, these Zealots will completely outclass these poor little Lings, and that's going to force a lot of the army to come over here to help defend. And we'll actually be able to come up here in time, because look at this. With these 3 attack Zealots, they're taking really fast hacks away at this 5th, and there goes the 5th hatch. And now he wants to try to find a spot to go into the main, and finally found it. Yes, he did. And he finally found it, and the Queens, will you actually be able to hack it away in time? Yes! Oh, baby! Only a few of the Zealots, not the full pack of Zealots, actually are able to get on in there, but again, all the defenses rotate back into the domain to be able to defend all this. Now, this is one of those opportunities that the Protoss player probably should have used to go attack this 4th hatch and take it out, as we see very low on HP as well, and if he could completely shut off the economy for the Zerg player, that's going to give him enough time to get his mothership out, get additional units out, get additional defenses out, etc., etc. So that's kind of where we're at. But Reason's kind of like, it's time. I'm not gonna wait anymore. I've got my Broodlords. I got my Corruptors. I got my Infestors, bro. And of course, a lot of these pros can just get fungled. Oh, that's just completely disgusting. To watch as just all that economy will go away. There goes completely the 4th base, and here comes the base trade situation in front of us. Charge lots are going at the 4th hatch. Of course, 4th hatch going down pretty quick. The split over here with the Blink Stalkers already going to the 3rd, so you're doing a good job splitting it up and trying to get his attack going everywhere. Meanwhile, down here at the 5th, trying to take the hatch again. Looking back over to the Protoss side of the map, Key with the Broodlord sending him over to the 3rd, and now basically at this point just progressing on forward throughout the map. Now, this is kind of a little bit interesting. Archon's taking a couple of the Infestors out for free. Infested Terrans, though, completely getting cleared out. Again, like I said, not really much of a worthwhile unit. And this is kind of that time and point of the game where, Zerg is just too strong and it's very hard to break. And then the unfortunate right here is the mothership is about to pop out, but it won't even have enough time to even see the light of day. The Lings and the Broodlords and the Roaches and all the Infestors are able to get it out of the way as quick as possible. And of course, we're seeing hatches popped out everywhere. If I was actually Reason right now, I'd be sure to pull back a couple of drones down here with your army, and so you could have extractors and whatever else you could build with it. But regardless, we see the GG from Aki. The GG from Aki, and Reason will be moving on. Aki is out, so congratulations to Reason, still sticking into the tournament. Aki, thank you for an awesome and wonderful performance. We will miss you. But what that does set up is a situation where we're closer to our grand finals. Let's go to the bracket really quick. Make sure also to refresh, make sure that our bracket is actually all updated. Well, at the moment it's not. So Kapach and Killer are going to play right now, or if they are playing at the moment from what I understand. And then of course we just had a Reason take out Aki. He's going to be going to the loser semifinals. Tanico and B-Lord, if I'm not mistaken, are going at it as well. Let me double check and see what's going on over there. Go look at Tanico's match history, and who has he played against? Let's see. Okay, so Tanico played B-Lord, and let's see. Who won? Team 1 won. Wow, Team 1 beat. So B-Lord won game number 2. Who won game number 1? Looks like looks like B-Lord won game number 2 as well. So 1 and 2. So, strange. Okay. So B-Lord is going to be moving on. I think B-Lord beat Tanika, so Reason and B-Lord are going to be playing each other now. What is the deal with Kapach and Killer? Let's try to get see what Killer's up to right now. Let's try to take a look at his match history. And he hasn't played for a little while, so I guess him and Kapach haven't started yet. No, they have not. So I guess that's going to be the series coming up right now. Early morning StarCraft. It's awesome stuff. Alright guys, we're going to take a little bit of a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. I am Cheesehead Logic for Team Empire, and again, this is the Vasacast Invitational qualifier. Winner will go on to the Grand Finals on February 16th and 17th. So be sure to check that out. And of course, that's what you got to remember. And of course, для моим русским зрителям, привет всем, спасибо, что вы все со мной остались.